Welcome to Grace Among Us, the podcast where we unearth the many faces and places of grace and share stories of the power of grace in our human lives. Our desire is that this will inspire you to see grace in your own life and share it with others.
Hello. My name is Carri Richard. I'm a mindset coach. I help high achievers make space and enjoy the ride. And I am doing one of my most favorite things to be here with Ebony Gilbert and talk about grace. So, hello, Ebony.
Hello, Carrie. I'm Ebony Gilbert. And today's my birthday.
Woo! Happy birthday.
Yes.
I'm so glad you're born.
Me too, because then I wouldn't have had the chance to meet you if I wasn't. And that'd just be a loss to the world. So, good day. Good day. How you want to talk about grace today?
I want to talk, this is 'tis the season. We're in the holiday season. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty burnt out right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's not, life is lifey. There's a lot of things going on. Even though I try to be aware of this, often as the year ends, like there's this unconscious, like, I got to get all this stuff done before the end of the year. So that pressure builds. I'm watching people rush around trying to do X, Y, or Z for the holiday, for this, for that. Um, and, this is grace is always here. And we've talked a lot about going and finding grace. And today I kind of want to just talk about, Matthew 11:28 and 30. I want to talk about just receiving grace, kind of sitting back and resting. So we got two versions of it. Let's just go with the message. It's very topical. So this is Matthew 11:28 through 30. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly.
That's a big promise.
That is a big promise.
And he doesn't lie.
Mm-mm. It really, as those words, I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Like, all of the urgency that's going on is of my own making. That concept of trying to fit it all in. So, I'm gonna be quiet for a minute and see what you got.
Before you even read the verse, when you were talking about you're feeling a little worn out, so craziest thing is happening. I always get sickly around the holidays. And I can't figure out why, because I don't feel stressed, but my body is saying to me, we don't like this time of year. So it's preemptively doing strange things. And I talked to my doctor about this. And like, your body can get a version of PTSD where it remembers how stressed you are during a certain season.
Yeah.
And it will begin to behave in a cyclical fashion just because it's been your norm. So even when you're trying to come out of that pattern, your body will do what it thinks it's supposed to do, which is heighten your immune response and do all kind of strange things. So in reading this, a real rest to me feels like a physical rest. So it's not just I'm going to walk away feeling lighter or feeling better, like my emotional, my psychological, my mental state. No, a real rest to me speaks to the physical condition of my body. So there's no longer a conflict between what I'm telling myself, this mindfulness, this intentionality, and what my body is saying.
Yeah.
That part really speaks to me. There are a couple parts in that verse that really speak to me, but that part, considering that I'm congested, done nothing to be congested, considering that I got the aches and pains and my body is saying things that I don't agree with, I'd like to tap into that real rest to put my physical state at ease as I believe what's being said in this verse. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, and uh my prayer for you is that that real rest is not only the physical rest that you talk about, the mental, emotional, all of the rest, but also a rest to that cycle, because that's what he can do.
Yeah, that's exactly where my mind is. And if you want to take it broader, oftentimes our environment, the physical stuff, the environment, the space you're in, the things we think we can't control,
Yeah.
I think we can. I think we can. We can definitely show up in a way that what we speak and what we believe dictates how we react and how those things react to us.
You are so right. Both from the words we speak and what we allow in. Like, if I want to turn on the news 24/7, uh, I'm going to get a much different environment internally and externally than if I, you know, spend that
Right.
on other avenues, like being here with you and talking about this subject.
So if we're learning the unforced rhythms of grace, we're letting it happen if it's unforced.
Right. But we got to slow down to let it happen.
Yeah. Because I don't have to tell myself to breathe. It's unforced. It's automatic.
Right.
I don't have to tell myself to blink. It's going to happen. So when I think of unforced rhythms of grace, I'm thinking of those automatic things that occur if we walk with him and work with him and watch how he does it. That's the sentence before. And then I had this other. Have you seen these videos of these babies? They're little, they're tiny little somethings, like 1 and 2. And they dance.
No.
Music comes on,
Oh, and they're like,
and they're like, and they have rhythm. And it's like, who taught this kid to two step? You
yeah.
know, it's unforced. It's just in them.
That's a yes, exactly. And that's what's in us too.
Boom. And they don't know to be ashamed. They don't know to fight it. They don't know any of these things. They don't know that it's strange or weird or people are looking at them funny. They don't care.
Right.
They're channeling what's in them and it comes out
Right.
and it produces joy, not just for them, but for everybody around them. It's contagious.
And you know why it's contagious? Because you see it reflects what's in you that we may not either allow, or we got all this other stuff on top of it. It it wakes that up. I
So if grace is the baby rhythm,
yes.
you know, where the moment, so if the music is making the baby do this and it's channeling the thing in them, the grace is the thing inside of us. And whatever we're going through is awakening that thing in us, you
Yes.
know? And
Yes.
then we get to move in this grace. We get to operate in this grace, and it's unforced. That's what I'm seeing in my head.
I
Now you
love
gotta go
it.
look up some baby dancing videos.
Okay, I will, because that's a great input, right? That's something I wanna put in my environment. I heard the other day, I I don't know where it came from. I can't quote it, but I heard uh, environment wins over willpower.
Do you believe that?
You know, I I think over time it does. I really think environment has a lot to do with it.
So what do we do? Do we change our surroundings?
Well, I think it's talking to the point that you were saying of being conscious about our environment, right? It doesn't mean we got to blow everything up and change everything, but you know, look at what you allow in, look at what's coming out of your mouth. It's just a conscious, it says, watch how I do it.
It also says, "Get away with me, and you'll recover your life." Sometimes
Hmm.
you got to get away.
I love that, and it's keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. And I'll tell you, I got a quick grace story. So I had I get my skin checked, and they saw some funny freckle that looked normal to me, and they did a biopsy, and I have my little app on my phone. So I get the pathology report before I talk to the doctor, which can be dangerous because I don't understand all that's going on. And I'm going to start Google land if I'm not careful. And it said invasive melanoma. And I was like, well, that's pretty clear that that is not good. Right. I got it at the end of the week. So I talked to, I got it at the end of the week. So it was like, okay, wait a second. There's nothing I can do about this right now.
Right.
So I'm gonna come away. I'm gonna give it to God, and I'm gonna go about my business. And I know that the beginning of next week I'm gonna know more. But
Hmm.
right now, I gotta give it up. So uh it kind of stuck. So I did the next thing, which was I asked for prayers. I reached out to people. Look, this is heavy on me. And so I'm gonna share it and ask you to pray. And I did have a specific prayer for God this time. I said, "Look, can we please move through this swiftly because my son is having a major surgery very soon, and I really, you know, can you help me here?"
I don't have time
So
for this.
it I tried to be graceful about it, but it was like, I can you do me a solid here? And if you can't, it's okay. So Monday, I talked to my doctor. She said, "You got to have surgery. The schedulers are going to call you." So I reached out for some other prayers. And I specifically said, I'm hopeful I can get this addressed before the 4th of December. And the scheduler called on Wednesday, and I said the same thing to them. And they said, "Ooh, hold on, wait a second." Like in that moment, hold on. We just had a cancellation. Can you come tomorrow?
Has this ever happened before?
Not like that. Not for this reason. I mean, medically, has this happened before? Like, has
No,
God,
the lineup of this immediate urgency.
I don't know that clearly. No, no.
And how'd you feel when you were being this specific in your prayer?
I felt a little anxious. Like, I really wanted permission
Like,
for
am I
that.
overstepping?
Yeah. And that's why it was like I had the disclaimer, "Hey, God, if you can't do me this, that's okay. It's all right." But um, yeah. And so I went the next day, and I'll tell you what, so very grateful that I didn't have time to think about it because it was more than I expected, and I was on the moving walk, right? I was being moved along.
I ask you the question about, how did you feel when you're making that request? Sometimes I struggle with the specificity of what I'm wanting to ask, and I have to remind myself and remind you and everybody else that the Bible says in Philippians 4 and 6, "Be anxious for nothing, and in everything with prayer and supplication with thanksgiving." So you prayed, you were humble, you were grateful, Make your request known to God.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You
Yeah.
got to tell him.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't already know. He just wants you to talk to him. And I'm so glad you did.
Me too. So I found out 2 days ago, the stitches came out. It's all gone. I am cancer free. It's,
So from
you know,
start to finish,
from start to finish, it was 2 weeks, 14
what the
days.
what?
Huh?
What the what? They found
Exactly.
it, diagnosed it, removed
Removed
it,
it, biopsied it. Again,
and
the
you're here
stitches are
talking,
out. I just got a nice patch. I got a story to tell.
and you needed this done by December 4th,
Yes. Yep.
which is Monday.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you even got a little grace period in there. Grace period
Exactly.
in
Thank you.
there, in air quotes,
Yeah. Yeah.
pun intended, to have a little cushion.
Absolutely.
Wow. Unforced rhythms of grace.
And I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you.
Do you feel free and lighter?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel so very grateful for so many things. I feel grateful that I'm in a place where I take care of myself, where I get checked. Um, you know, that I have a healthy body that heals swiftly, that I really didn't have time to think about it, dwell on it, get in it. That is grace. Big time for me.
Tell you about something that happened this week, and I'm going to tie it all together. I was meeting with some of my coworkers, and we were discussing performance of our staff and things of that sort. And one of the newer guys to the team, he was describing this one employee, and his exact words were, "She is a freight train. She gets look, keep listening because I took that immediate statement as what does that mean?" He said, "She is a freight train. She can carry a lot of weight, and she just goes at full speed and never skips a beat until there's a pebble on the track. And because she's going so quickly and at such force and carrying so much weight, that one pebble
Yeah.
can create a massive accident." And I was listening to him thinking, oh, that's so good. I'm going to talk about this on the podcast because the pebbles of life can derail us, literally, in his example.
Yeah.
That one freckle that looked normal to you was a pebble. And it could have very easily
Oh, it could.
derailed,
Yep.
very easily. And I'm like seeing a picture of a train on the track, and there's always rocks underneath the tracks, right? You're surrounded by pebbles on a railroad track. We used to run along the railroad tracks. There's a lot, and you always got home with rocks in your shoes
Yes.
because they're full of pebbles. So I'm seeing this train on these tracks, and there's rocks and there's pebbles everywhere. But the train has a track and it has ordered steps, right?
Right.
And I feel like grace keeps the pebble from getting on the track. You
Yeah.
know, it keeps you in line with the direction you're supposed to be going. And even if one little pebble gets on the track, grace kind of moves it out the way
Swiftly, if we're willing.
swiftly, swiftly. It doesn't remove the environment of pebbles. It doesn't clean up everything around you that's rocky and usually in the woods. Um, but there's still a track. And I just feel like your situation could have been a pebble on your track.
It could have been a small boulder. Yeah.
Yeah, it could have derailed a lot of things. It could have derailed your schedule for what you needed to do for your son. It could have derailed your faith.
Yeah.
There could have been so many derailings. And typically when a train derails, there is major catastrophic impact that takes a
Absolutely.
long time to clean up.
Yeah.
So thank you, Carrie, for sharing your story. And thank you, God, for grace
Amen.
to deal
Amen.
with the pebbles.
Absolutely. And if I had taken it all upon myself, right, to do it myself without, I think one of the biggest shifts was I immediately reached out and shared it.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Who are my prayer warriors? Who are my supporters? Where's the Carrie fan club and how can we come help?
Yeah, and it's like, this is what I know. This is what I'm praying for. Can you pray for me?
And instead of you needing a cleanup crew after the fact, you just kept going on your track.
Yeah,
Now, just to make sure you're okay, right?
I am. I
Okay.
am.
Don't want to lose that.
Yes.
You're okay.
No, I am okay. It is all clear. I got the all clear. 2 weeks to the day. Yep.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Outstanding. What if we approached all of that stuff as just pebbles
Exactly.
and we get to make a choice?
Yeah.
Because a cancer diagnosis is not a pebble, let's be clear. But what if our perspective and our vantage point and with our grace glasses on, we viewed all these things as a pebble? It's a pebble on my track,
Yeah.
but I've got to keep going. I've got to do the things I know I can do, and I've got to keep my steps ordered. For you, it was I need to ask for help. I need support. I need some angels. I need some folks praying. I need some belief. I've got to ask. I've got to open my mouth and speak it. And look at what happened.
Yeah.
That's good, Carrie.
And when we ask for help, and I encourage anybody who's listening, please, um, you can ask us. You can reach out to us if you need prayers. When I do that, I'm accountable that I am actually putting it in God's hands. And saying, "Can you please bring the broom?"
Hey, God, I need a grace rumba
Oh
to
my
just
gosh.
swirl around me and pick up all the pebbles as I'm walking through this thing called life. Just where's my little automated vacuum robot that
Yes.
just goes around me and it just
Yes.
gets in front of me and mercy and goodness is following me. So that little rumba's behind me and everything ahead of me is being protected with my little grace robot that's picking up my pebbles along the way.
Yes. I just wanna say one more thing when you're talking about that. I now want to build that image so bad of a Rumba with, like, grace glasses on.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness, but,
And then you put little words on the pebbles,
yes, yes.
health, money, friends, job. And it's just picking up these little things.
Okay, we're on it. Next time I see you, we're making a movie.
Yes, we are.
Um, the unforced rhythms of grace. So I just wanna say one last thing, that, um, there's so much when I got to the point where I wanted to look back over my shoulder and see if God was helping me, that's where I have to just keep moving forward. It's that unforced rhythm. Like, it happened very swiftly, but I can't check up on him along the way. Because when I do that, I'm doubting. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. It makes perfect sense. Keep your head ahead and stay looking forward.
And to bring that back around, that's part of that rest.
The
It's
rest.
like, okay, I've put it in God's hands, and now I need to give that topic a rest.
That's good. That's good. Unforced rhythm. Rhythms. Plural of grace. Rhythms. It's not always a 2/4 count or a 4/4 count,
No. And
but it's
sometimes
in
there's
cadence.
there's multiple going on
Yeah,
all the time.
but it has a cadence
Yeah.
and it moves at the pace in which it's supposed to move. I do this thing where I listen to songs sometimes and I speed them up where I slow them down just to play with it.
Yeah.
I do it to our podcast when I listen back to it. I speed it up to the 1.5. Generally because I'm in a rush and I need to take that 25 minutes and shrink it down some. But the cadence of when you speed it up or you slow it down changes a lot of things.
Yeah.
It changes a lot of things. Sometimes you miss a word. Sometimes your pauses that are intentional get, weird. So I've learned to not do that if I don't have to do it. Just wait till I have the time to really fully listen. Because if you force the rhythm, you miss things.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same meaning. So the unforced rhythms of grace allows me to be fully present. So I don't miss anything by trying to speed up the rhythm or trying to hurry it or rush it or slow it down because I'm looking over my shoulder trying to check in on God to see if he's going to pass me the baton. I don't need the baton.
And if I do, he'll make it completely clear in the moment.
He'll do it.
Here you go, honey.
I don't just have to stand there with my hand out waiting for him to, he's got all that in control. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for the beautiful conversation. For all those listening, my prayer for you is that in this season that you find some rest, whatever that looks like.
So that you can live freely and lightly.
Yeah.
That's good. So we have dancing babies. We have
The Roombas.
Robotic vacuums with grace glasses. We have trains with pebbles. As you're driving down the street, look for any of these things and think about us. Oh, that's good. Happy holiday season.
Yes. Happy holiday season. And this was fun, as always.
Let's do it again.
Okay. All right.
Grace out.
Grace out.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. We love to hear from you, and share it with a friend. Also, please be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. We hope you're leaving with another pointer to grace, a new perspective that will light it up in your own life. Until next time, be well, be bold, be kind to yourself, and be on the lookout.